Evening, everyone. Welcome to Bharat and Geopolitics. Join us on an insightful journey into the complexity of India-US relations as we delve into the topic of tension in India-US relations. In this episode, we are honored to welcome our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Adityanjee. Dr. Adityanjee is the President of Council for Strategic Affairs, who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the discussion. From trade disputes to a strategic partnership, the relationship between India and the United States has been both dynamic and intricate. As two of the world's largest democracies, their interaction have far-reaching implications not only for the region, but also for global geopolitics. In this engaging conversation, we will explore the root causes of tensions, examine the key points of contention, and uncover potential avenues for collaboration. From geopolitical shifts to cultural nuances, we will navigate the multifaceted landscape of India-US relations with our expert guide. Tune in as we unravel the complexity, challenges, assumptions, and shed light on the opportunities and challenges in this crucial bilateral relationships. Welcome abroad as we embark on this enlightening journey together. Don't miss out on this enlightening discussion. Stay tuned for a thought-provoking exploration, tensions in India-US relations, only on Bharat and Geopolitics. Welcome to Creative Sagittarius, Dr. Adityanjee. Once again.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
So, Dr. Adityanjee, we have recently seen the American interference in our internal issues. We know that the West, including America, suffers from the colonial mindset, but their current comments on CAA and the government action against the Congress Party and Kejriwal are shocking. How can they dare to interfere with India's internal matters? There was no provocation from our side either. We have never interfered with any country's internal affairs. So how India can give a befitting reply to them is the coming general election holding governments from taking a tough stance? So you must have seen this incident. You are very much interested in geopolitics. So what's your comment on this?
I think we need to take it in a perspective and not make a reflexive or knee-jerk or emotional reaction to it. The reality is that in post-Second World War era, United States emerged as the superpower, and United States has interfered in internal affairs of not just India, many countries. So that is reality number one. That's their behavior pattern, and they will continue to do so. Nothing will stop them. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Number two, this is not the first time United States has tried to interfere in India's internal affairs. I'll tell you, there's a book written by somebody who is no longer alive. Name is Gregory Douglas. Nice. And the book was published in 2013, and the title of the book was Conversations with Crow. Gregory Douglas claimed that he interviewed Robert Crowley, a deputy director for clandestine operations of CIA. Right. And it is written in the book that CIA managed to eliminate two important people from India in 1966. The first one was Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri on January 11th. And second one was Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha. Now, we can always say it is not corroborated or whatever, but why would somebody write a book based on interviews from a retired CIA official?
Yeah.
So there's a history behind it, and this is not the first time. This will not be the last time. It's not just United States. You said Germany and you said Western countries. This is their behavior pattern. The sooner we understand it, the better it is. What should government of India do about it? Nothing. Just ignore it. That is number one strategy. And do what you need to be doing in building the nation. Now, as far as the elections are concerned, they will go on in a smooth fashion organized by Election Commissioner of India, or Election Commission of India, rather, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the outcome will be there. So there's no need to give a knee-jerk reaction. That is one strategy. The other thing is that we need to understand the importance of reciprocity in international relations as a nation. Our policy institutions need to behave in the same way. There's no point saying, oh, we have never interfered in the domestic affairs of any other country. It's high time we start doing that. Is United States the most perfect democracy?
No.
Answer is no. In United States, people who don't get maximum number of votes get elected as president. It happened in year 2016.
George Bush Jr.
Well, it was year 2000, George Bush Jr.,
Yeah.
number 43,
Mm-hmm.
became president despite losing the popular votes.
Yeah.
Similarly, Donald John Trump won in 2016 despite losing the popular votes. So technically, it is impossible when you say that, democracy is important, one person, one vote. But if one person's vote does not count, and you have a parallel system in which manipulation is possible, that is not perfect democracy. What is happening in US at this point in time is that election officials are being targeted. They are being given death threats. And this is not just one-off thing. This has been a pattern for last almost decade or so. They are continuing to get death threats. Their family members are being exposed or doxed, as they call it. Their personal information, home address, telephone numbers are being put on internet by various parties, whether they are candidates or candidates, sidekicks. So US democracy is not perfect. And it's high time that Indian institutions, I'm not necessarily saying government, but Indian institutions, whether they are NGOs, whether they are think tanks, whether they are civil society institutions, whether it is Indian press, needs to start monitoring the US system and start making comment on that. That is the reciprocity from the civil society side, but the government of India also, if it finds that there is some problems in United States, they should comment on it and not hide behind the high tower that we don't interfere in the internal affairs of another country. They should start doing that. And there's a very famous saying in Hindi: when elephant walks, the dogs start barking.
Yeah.
I need not explain to you what it means. So India should continue to do what India is doing, that is nation building, building our own strengths, building our own domestic sector, industry, Indian society, and not pay much attention to motivated buyers quarters from abroad who are at loss as to what is happening in India, because their prime goal is to bring India down.
Yeah, right. Because their comments actually embolden the opposition party. Yeah, because you have seen there is a big rally in Ramlila Maidan of the India Alliance. So they get emboldened. Okay, so we have supported.
So what happens that in elections, you have the right to say your thing. You have right to do your rallies. So let the opposition do its own rallies and all. We do know that there is a nexus between some foreign forces and some domestic elements who will sell their soul to get foreign support.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual vote casting,
Mm.
do you think a village voter in Bharat will say that this is what government of United States or Secretary of State said about government of India? That's why I should cast my vote in this particular party or for this particular candidate. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Indian voter is very mature and they'll give a befitting reply to all these motivated and contrived criticism.
Yeah. So, as you say, this is not a big issue. Such things will keep happening, and the government of India should ignore it. Just to ignore it.
Well, I gave you two different strategies.
Yeah, yeah, right.
At this point in time, election process is already on.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than wasting our time, we just issue one statement that this is a motivated and biased critique, that we don't agree with it, and just leave it at that rather than getting enmeshed into it, and let the electoral process unfold, and the outcome will decide who is right, who is wrong. And I told you that, average village voter in India is very smart, and they will decide. Second is that as a, long-term strategy, institutions in India, I'm not saying government of India, institutions in India need to start adopting and implementing the principle of reciprocity.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So I am moving to my next question. I was just going through a report that was done by the survey by pewresearch.org. When I was researching this topic, I just came across this. This survey shows American general public, they are not very enthusiastic about India. So they say the Indian influence has not risen in the recent years. And many young Americans, and they hardly know India is Narendra Modi. So whatever the government does, that's a different thing. That is the government to government relations. Our general public in India, they are very what I say, ecstatic about the America's this power and money and whatever. They just think this is a heaven. So the American feeling, the general public feeling is totally different what they think about India. So do you think that government of India should do something to strike a chord with the American public as the government is doing currently? They try to create a people-to-people relation with any country. So will it help India in any manner if the government tries to do that?
So, number one thing, let me comment on US society. US society is highly individualistic and highly selfish,
Yeah.
and highly uneducated, highly ill-informed. And whatever you may want to do, they are just self-centered on their basic needs, their short-term interests and goals. Half of them cannot even tell, more than half of them, the cabinet members in United States cabinet, they cannot tell you the names of all the states. It's a very ill-informed society. It's a society that is in decline at this point in time.
I see.
And what does government of India gain by trying to change the public perception of American youth about India? Nothing. There's a saying Everybody worships the rising sun. America has been the superpower. So yes, there is large amount of interest, huge amount of interest from all the countries in the world on American culture, American scene, all that kind of thing. It's logical. Rather than trying to adopt shortcuts, the government of India needs to focus on its business, that is building India. When India is rising and shining, people will start paying attention. So why bother about, decadent generation of United States not being bothered much about India? How does it matter? Does it matter our GDP if Americans are more informed about it? Yes, the governments have government-to-government relations, and they do sometimes take activities in promoting people-to-people relationship, which is already there. But to change the attitude of American youth, I think that's taking it too far. Even United States government is not able to change the attitude of their own youth.
Yeah.
Why government of India wastes its effort? We have more important issues to handle domestically in India for government of India. Let me put it this way.
Okay, but this idea, do you think this logic should be applied with the neighboring countries also in this South Asian continent?
Look, our relationship is complex in the neighborhood, in a near abroad.
Yeah.
And yes, the situation in near abroad of India is different from the relationship with India, from US.
Yeah. Yes.
And successive governments have tried to engage the neighboring countries or their populations,
Yeah.
in some cases with success, in some cases without success or minimal success. And it's a game. Whatever you do, there are other parties that are also operating.
Right.
I don't envisage at any point in time that government of India or people of India will ever be able to change the attitudes of either the government or citizens of Pakistan, which was created out of India on only one principle, that is hostility to India. So you need to understand where your limitations are, where you can work and take appropriate steps and not treat every country by the same yard standard.
Right.
They
But
have to be different.
yeah. But when I
They
ask,
have to be
yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Sir.
they have to be differential yardsticks with dealing with different countries. With some countries, you will promote people-to-people relationship. You will promote cultural relations.
Yes.
You will promote exchange of students or cultural troops or whatever. Not with every country.
But when I say this, I didn't mean Pakistan. I mean the other countries around India, like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, other countries, Thailand or Indonesia. I mean these countries.
Well, I've said that again, each country stands on its own merits. If you look at Bangladesh, there is a very, very strong anti-India movement going on,
Yes.
supported by Islamists and jihadi elements. Again, are you able to change just by your soft power or your cultural diplomacy the minds of these highly radicalized jihadi elements? No. So again, situation is different in each country. We need to understand, and we cannot use the same formula.
Right.
Uh, you have countries that have played China card against India.
Yeah.
You have countries that are inherently, in the time of crisis, would blame India despite getting all the benefits from India. So you you know different treatment has to be meted out to different countries based on the situation.
Okay. So this sorry. So the very relevant question that coming to my mind, Bangladesh is turning another Pakistan. So what do you think the government of India should do at this juncture actually?
Government of India needs to predicate every incentive to government of Bangladesh based on actual performance.
Okay.
Actual performance, their human rights records, their treatment of minorities, specifically Hindu, Buddhist, Chakmas populations, and control of anti-India activity. And whether that is sponsored by Pakistan or China, it becomes a separate topic by itself.
Yeah, right.
So let's not waste time on that. We will have some other time. We will discuss that. It was a side issue.
Yeah, because that's also a burning topic on my mind actually. So I was also thinking of discussing this topic. So thank you so much. I am moving to my next question. Uh, I think that is already answered. What is the significance of foreign commentary on Indian internal affairs?
The beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. If you talk about what is the impact on Arvind Kejriwal or Congress party, they would be very happy that United States or Germany or United Nations have criticized some elements of India's official establishment. But again, I come back to the same thing,
Yeah.
When a voter is going to cast their vote, are they going to take these into consideration? No. They will have their own yardsticks. They will have their own parameters.
Yeah.
So yes, it has something to do with the optics. It has something to do with international relations. It has something definitely to do with conduct of elections, because if money is flowing out from these biased sources, if the sources from abroad decides making verbal tirades, also start sending money or start taking activities which affect the situation in ground, yes, that is a cause for concern.
Right.
And government of India should sort of, intervene very strongly at that point in time. You do know that since 2014, government of India has stopped the loopholes by which foreign money was coming to NGOs and used for nefarious purposes.
Is that completely closed or still there are loopholes?
There are still loopholes, but the number of NGOs that have been shut down or their accounts have been frozen or they've been subject to regulatory requirements, to the extent that even BBC was forced to agree that they were underpaying the taxes. After making a lot of hue and cry, ultimately they were forced to pay the taxes they were hiding. Or organizations that are using foreign money for conversion activities, etc. So the independent institutions, which are autonomous in India, are doing their job.
Right.
It's not necessarily the government of India as the executive branch, which is run by the majority political party. The actions that are being taken and that are being criticized are not done by the government per se in that sense. ED is not part of the government.
Yeah.
It's an independent institution, autonomous institution.
What about the Hawala transactions?
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm just going a bit off track, but that came to my mind. I'll be going back to the questions actually.
the government of India is trying to stop all these loopholes. And previously, Hawala was a major source of money that used to come, and things are changing. So again, people who were using number two channels to get foreign monies or whatever, black money, whatever you may call it, or illegal monies from abroad, they are feeling alarmed. There used to be pernicious influence of cash in the elections, and government has over a period of time tried to change that situation. It may not be 100% successful, but even the election commission has taken steps. They do seizure of caches and, transportation of cash across the country and all that sort of thing. So again, yes, there is some influence of the foreign critique, but it depends on who's the party concerned. Institutions will do their job. Why should institutions get sort of, panicky? That why should ED get upset that, United States government is criticizing ED action? ED has business to do. It's a constitutional role. They will do what they need to do.
Thank you so much. So the next question is, how do this American perspective on this Indian internal matters influence the bilateral relations?
Well, yes, it does. It
Uh,
does. And bottom line is that you deal with countries with a position of equality. You cannot be vassal state of any other country, whether that country happens to be China, Russia, or United States, or UK, or Germany. International relations are based on reciprocity. In the past, India was a soft state. India used to be called a lamb state by one of the strategic thinkers, that what foreign governments wanted, India would do that. It's no longer there. Yes, motivated, biased criticism from foreign governments will affect bilateral relationships. It will have some consequences. But then the other party should be willing to face the consequences.
Okay. So do you think that something or some reaction will be there from the government of India, despite just denying the comment actually, whatever the government of America has said?
Look, the governments don't work in a knee-jerk reflexive reaction.
Right.
You don't throw a hissy fit just because somebody made a comment here and there. They are much more deliberative, much more, slow responses. They're at policy formulation level.
Yeah.
And if a country is being unfriendly, it will be given an unfriendly welcome. That's how the international relations are. You cannot have one-sided friendship forever.
Okay. So my next question is a bit idealistic. To what extent should foreign entities involve themselves in the internal affairs of sovereign nations like India? What should be the principles?
Look, all of us know that no country wants meddling by foreign entities in their domestic affairs.
Yeah.
But from time immemorial, we know that that is how geopolitics is. Historically, whenever a country is invaded by other country, there are some domestic elements who will betray the nation.
Yeah.
History is replete with those examples.
Yeah.
All of us say that there should not be any foreign meddling or interference, but it happens all the time. And it's not just coming from United States. There is foreign meddling in India's internal affairs by China. If you want, I can cite examples.
Yeah.
There have been in the past interference by former Soviet Union. I need to just tell you two words: Mitrokin archives.
Yeah, right.
There has been foreign interference even from Russia. There has been foreign interference by Iran. Iranian intelligence agents were involved in some incidents in New Delhi. Critics of Putin are found dead in hotel rooms, or they are pushed from hotel rooms, balconies, downstairs, dying.
Who
in state of Odisha.
was he?
I don't remember the name right now.
Okay. Okay.
But it happened in last few months. Two Russian citizens in India under suspicious circumstances, quote unquote, fell from the balcony. These kind of things do happen. Now, on a more wider level, hundreds of nuclear scientists of India died
Yes.
under mysterious circumstances. They didn't die just because of the will of the God. I am telling you, all the countries interfere in other countries, even smaller countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives. I don't need not say Pakistan, they interfere in India. So rather than saying we never interfere in the internal affairs of other countries, I think time has come that you don't have to make moral proclamations. You have to guard your national interests and you do whatever you need to do. Be thick-skinned.
Yes. So our comments from the Western nations like the United States perceived differently in India compared to those from other regions.
Yes, if there's a powerful country that makes some statement, yes, this will create more ripples and their agents, their whatever you may call them, acolytes, or the Hindi word that comes in my mind, dalals, they are overjoyed when that criticism comes.
Yeah.
How many times the different communist parties have become overjoyed when certain comments or our leftist communist media, goes into raptures when China says something about India.
So one more after question coming to my mind. I think the Indians are less patriots than the citizens of the other countries.
I think that may be true. That may be true, and it may be the result of at least 1,000 years of slavery that we forgot the sense of nationhood.
Yeah.
Sense of nationhood, sense of patriotism, and our fault lines because of the diversity are so many that everybody is in bed with some foreign elements.
Yeah.
Whether that is based on just pure money or other considerations. These considerations could be just linguistic, religious, regional aspirations, dynastic power preservation, whatever motives they have, but yes, there is less patriotism at this point in time in India, and that needs to change. So, fault lies with us, Brutus.
That was my opinion also. I just wanted to reconfirm with you. So I think we can take up one more question. I think we have nearly 5 minutes of time left. So then I summarize, then I'll close this session. Okay. So how does the Indian government respond to criticism or commentary from abroad? So this you have already answered actually.
Yeah.
Would you like to
Yeah.
add to this?
I'll add something to it in a different context.
Okay.
Remember, every year since OIC was formed, there was mention of India, critique of India,
Yeah.
ritual mention of, violation of human rights in Jammu and Kashmir, the Muslims being persecuted and all.
Yes.
And every year there used to be a, scramble in the Ministry of External Affairs how to deal with that criticism. And they will go on hyperdrive, and you would talk to various countries who would say, oh, we don't have any problem, but it is because of Pakistan, and on OIC platform, we want to be supporting our Islam, this thing, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And a time came Government of India and Ministry of External Affairs stop responding to that, except for say making a bland statement that these are biased and motivated perceptions. Reality is different.
Mhm.
So again, I'm trying to say for a confident, resurgent nation, bias, motivated criticism should not throw into panic. You keep on doing what is your national agenda,
Yeah.
building up the nation. Yes, you want to have good press internationally, you want to have goodwill internationally, but when you know that the other party is biased, why waste your effort? And that would be whether it is OIC,
Mhm.
whether that is NATO, whether that is United Nations, whether that is Anglo-Saxon alliance, which is historically colonial, or whether it's China or its lackeys. Again, geopolitics is a brutal subject, You cannot have high moral principles guide your behaviors. And you have to deal with some of these criticism in a very nonchalant, very cool manner, rather than starting responding to each and every statement in a hyperventilating form.
So we have 2 minutes of time left. So I think the primarily you have said, just ignore the American comments and carry on with your own business.
I would say at this point in time, we are not going to start, government of India is not going to start giving the proof about, CAA, or for that matter, income tax department, what is doing with Congress party. This is an internal matter. Income tax department gave notices to Congress party refused to respond to that, so they are getting the penalties.
Yeah.
Systems are involved, and yes, we have an independent judiciary, so it's for everyone to see. Apart from just, a statement denying or criticizing the unnecessary critique of United States government, I don't think government of India should bother anything about United States.
Right.
And keep on doing what they are doing. Institutions should not respond to it. They are doing a good job in weeding out corruption, in weeding out other irregularities.
Okay.
Just because America is quote unquote concerned, the institutions will not stop functioning.
Right. Thank
And
you.
these are
So we have only 1 minute of time left. So I'm just wiping out this session actually, and we'll be joining again in 5 minutes.
okay.
Okay. So thank you for joining us, viewers. Heartfelt thank you for our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Adityanjee, for sharing your invaluable insight and experiences on tensions in India-US relations. So to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Your support and engagement drive us to continue delivering enriching content. Don't forget to subscribe and watch our videos and share with your friends and family. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Adityanjee. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sinha. I've been a little bit undiplomatic in making my comments today.
Thank you.